Here is the definition of feminism, or a feminist. A feminist is somebody who devotes a substantial amount of their time to promoting the welfare of women. It is neutral as to how to do it. One would promote the welfare of women according to one's concept or conception or idea or view or ideology or theory of where women's interests lie, in what way they are fulfilled, in what way they flourish, in what way they're happy. And people can have different views on, in fact, they do have different views on that matter. So you could be a liberal feminist, you could be a socialist feminist, you could be a conservative feminist, you could be a religious feminist, you could be a atheistic feminist, you could be a perfectionist feminist, you could be a Aristotelian feminist, a Kantian feminist, etc. My main point here is that there are different views on what constitutes welfare for women, although many of them may agree on certain points. And so if you are not spending a fair amount of your time doing things that, according to your understanding, will benefit women, then you are not a feminist. So, for example, even though I would support the welfare of women, and in slightly different circumstances, could imagine myself spending, good thing I'm getting new glasses, devoting myself to that cause. It's obviously a worthy cause, so defined. It so happens I'm not. I'm making a living doing something else. So basically, unless you're spending a lot of time doing what you think is to be beneficial to women, you are not a feminist. And if you say, I'm a feminist, all it means is, according to whatever conception you have of female flourishing, you're spending a lot of time promoting it. So it doesn't mean you support equality for men and women. It doesn't mean that you support abortion rights. It doesn't mean you support equal pay for equal work. It doesn't mean anything other than you're devoting a lot of your time to trying to make the situation of women better. So, for example, if you're in India, there may be any number of difficulties that women have. I think I'll take these glasses off. And you could say there's some kind of plight that many women are suffering from, and there's some way that you could devote yourself to changing some aspect of Indian life or circumstances or economy that will result in women being a lot happier, then you are a feminist. If you are convinced that Islam is correct and that women should be, and can only find true fulfillment by being subservient in some sense to men, and must cover themselves up and if that's the other condition is that this has to be a sincere belief. In other words, um, it can't be kind of a ruse or a pretense. So you have to, the conception that you have, your notion of what you're doing, has to be a sincere one. So obviously, this allows for a, a very large range, if not infinite range, of ways of going about things, and some of them will be wrong. Presumably, they can't all be right. So being a feminist is not. You can be a feminist and be benighted, right? You can be a feminist and do things that are actually enslaving women or making them worse off or making them frustrated. But if you are really motivated, and the sincerity comes not just from the believing in this idea, but that you actually have a passion or compassion or emotional commitment, a kind of love for women, and so that your actions are done from that motive and in the light of what you take to be the correct understanding of where women's welfare lies, then you are a feminist. So, other than that, the word is pretty much useless. And this is, I'm not saying that this is how everyone uses the word, but there's enough confusion, enough dubiousness about people claiming to be feminists as it is now, that it seems to be that this is the only possible legitimate use of the word. Otherwise, you should just say what you believe. Don't say, I'm a feminist. Like, oh, that's supposed to be some kind of sign that you're like an edgy woman who, despite the actual life that you lead, you're somehow kind of, we're not quite sure what exactly, but it's, it's something. Um, just say, well, I think that if you believe that somehow we need equality of outcomes, and so there needs to be equal representation in government and politics and business, and we must make laws to ensure that there's 50% of all professors are female, and 50% of all teachers are female, and 50% of all truck drivers are female. Then just explain that's your ideology. Don't say you're a feminist. Just say you believe in that. However, if you really, if devoting yourself to the welfare of women is what your life largely consists in, and this is a sincere motivation that's actual, that is to say, it comes from an actual concern for women, and it's based on your sincere belief about what is going to help them, you're a feminist. But so is somebody who also is a Nazi or is a socialist or an anarchist or libertarian or whatever, as long as those people, or Muslim or Christian or Hindu or Buddhist, as long as those people, as long as that person is, for whatever reason, made the welfare of women kind of their thing in life, or at least a major part-time activity. As they may have a job, but everything else they do is devoted to that segment of society. Then you're a feminist. But it doesn't tell us whether it's a good thing or bad thing, although we know where your concerns lie. Well, I think that's all I'm going to say on that subject, so let me just turn